In 2024, while we debate politics on Twitter, a North Korean diplomat discovered something on a computer screen that shattered everything he believed. He came from Pyongyang's elite, the protected class, the privileged few. Yet, when he learned that British children receive free school, meals and families get paid just for raising kids, he realized his own daughter would never taste that freedom. On January 15th, with his pregnant wife and 6-year-old daughter, he walked out of the embassy and never looked back. If these stories matter to you, please subscribe and hit the notification bell. Your support helps us bring these untold stories to light. Together we can be a voice for those who cannot speak. In North Korea, one of the most envied jobs is being a diplomat. But one day in London, a North Korean diplomat did the unthinkable. He grabbed his pregnant wife. He took his little daughter by the hand, and he ran straight out of the embassy. Back in Pyongyang, he wasn't just some official. He came from a privileged core family, the kind of people the regime protects. So why would a man like that risk everything? Because in the UK, he discovered a truth he was never allowed to know, a truth he saw on a computer screen. What did he find? Why did he choose asylum and throw his entire life away? This video is a reconstructed story. Subscribe and like, it helps more than you think. And tell us where you're watching from in the comments. This story begins in early 2023, back when I still lived in Pyongyang. My name is Choi Young-min. I was 35 years old. I worked as a diplomat under the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Let me be clear. In North Korea, being a diplomat isn't just a job. It's a seat, a protected position. My grandfather earned recognition during the Korean War. Because of that, my family was considered core class. That's how I got into Pyongyang University of Foreign Studies. That's how I ended up at the ministry. We lived in Pyongyang's Pyeongchon district. Our apartment was decent by North Korean standards. It was on the 3rd floor of a 5-story building. 3 bedrooms. Of course, winters were brutal. The heat barely worked. We slept under layers of blankets. Still, compared to most people, we were better off. My wife, Hee-jin, used to teach at a kindergarten. After we got married, she stayed home. She raised our daughter, Sua. Sua was 5 years old then. She was still in kindergarten. Every morning she waved at the door. "Dad, have a good day." That little hand, that small voice. Even now I can still see it. Each day I went to the ministry. I reviewed reports related to the UK. I memorized directives from the party. And I told myself I was proud. I truly believed I was serving my country. But even then, something felt off. Food rations showed up late. Sometimes they didn't show up at all. And prices at the market, what we call the jangmadang, kept climbing. Rice used to cost 5,000 won per kilogram, then 7,000, then 10,000. Even with a diplomat's salary, feeding a family was getting harder. One moment still sticks with me. Hee-jin wasn't feeling well, so she went to the hospital. In North Korea, they call it free medical care. But the truth is different. You still pay for medicine. And most of the time, the medicine isn't even there. So people buy Chinese drugs at the jangmadang. Expensive, uncertain, but it's that or nothing. I started wondering. My parents used to say, it wasn't always like this. So why was it getting worse? I tried to explain it away. Other countries are struggling too. It's because of American sanctions. That's what we were trained to believe. Then, in the spring of 2023, my orders came through. I was being posted to London, Second Secretary, North Korean Embassy, and I was allowed to bring my family. At the time, I was determined. I told myself I would work harder than ever. I had no idea what I was about to see. No idea it would break the world I'd been taught to accept. In May of 2023, we arrived in London. How do I explain that first feeling? The airport alone felt unreal. People laughed out loud. They argued. They joked. They moved like no one was watching. No surveillance eyes. No fear in their posture. We moved into housing arranged by the embassy, and our life in the UK began. Officially, my assignment involved researching British culture and education. In reality, I was there to monitor dangerous information, anything that could undermine the regime. But the more I worked, the more my mind spiraled. The real shock started with Suai, because embassy children could attend local schools. One day, the school sent home a letter. 2 words jumped off the page. Free school meals. I didn't understand, so I asked a colleague. He shrugged like it was nothing. It means lunch is free? Free lunch? You mean parents don't pay? I asked. He nodded. In North Korea, parents bring everything. Rice, notebooks, supplies, even gifts for teachers. But here, the country fed the children. Not just some children, all of them. At first, I assumed it was propaganda. A performance. That's what we do, after all. But it was real. Sua came home talking about warm meals. Chicken, pasta, fruit, milk. Back in Pyongyang, kindergarten lunch was often corn porridge, or a couple potatoes. And then I found something else. One day, the embassy ordered us to analyze British domestic policy. So I started searching online. That's when I stumbled across another phrase, child benefit. I read it twice, then 3 times. The government paid families every month just for raising a child. I stared at the screen like it was a trick. In North Korea, no one gives you anything for having a baby. Not formula, not diapers, not medicine. When Hye-jin gave birth to Sua, we had to bring supplies ourselves. Gauze, cotton, everything. Bought at the market. That night, back home, I spoke quietly. Hye-jin, the UK pays parents money for children, and the school feeds them for free. Hye-jin's eyes widened, but neither of us said much after that. Because we knew embassy housing is never just housing. It's a listening post. One wrong sentence can become a report. One report can become an arrest. That night, sleep didn't come. My mind kept looping. Is what we learned actually true? Is capitalism really hell? Then why do the children here look safe? A crack formed inside me. Small, but permanent. In September of 2023, Hye-jin spoke to me in a whisper. Honey, I think I'm pregnant. It should have been pure joy. We had always wanted another child. But fear came first. If we returned to Pyongyang, how would we raise this baby? Then the UK surprised me again. We went to the hospital. Everything was free. Prenatal checkups, ultrasounds, blood tests, doctor visits. They explained the NHS National Health Service. And they said pregnant women receive care without paying. I asked again and again because I couldn't accept it. Really? Not even a little? The nurse smiled and nodded. I thought about home. In North Korea, free care often means bribing a doctor. Medicine costs extra. Sometimes families must find anesthetic themselves. When my mother needed an appendectomy, we struggled to buy anesthesia at the market. That's the reality. Now I was watching an ultrasound screen in London. A tiny heartbeat, a healthy baby growing. My vision blurred. Then the doctor said it. Congratulations. It's a healthy boy. A son. Hye-jin grabbed my hand, trembling. But joy didn't last long. Because I knew what was coming. Overseas assignments don't last forever. 3 years. 5 years. Then you go back. And my turn to return would come soon. One night, after Sua fell asleep, Hye-jin finally said it. Be honest. Do you think what we learned was true? I couldn't answer quickly. I don't know, I admitted. But what I'm seeing here, it's not what we were told. We stopped there. Even thinking like that felt dangerous. But as Hye-jin's belly grew, my thoughts sharpened. What future did I want for my children? Pyongyang cold apartments, power cuts, empty clinics, fear, or a place where children ate, learned, and dreamed freely? Watching Sua talk about school, I began to imagine something forbidden. What if we didn't go back? And that thought carried a death sentence. If we failed, it wouldn't just be us. My parents, my siblings, they could be punished, too. A prison camp wasn't just possible. It was the default. Still, the question wouldn't die. December of 2023 became the turning point. The embassy gave me an order. Study South Korea. Analyze their policies. Know the enemy, they told us. So I began searching South Korean government sites. And that's when I saw numbers that didn't make sense. Childbirth support. Monthly child allowances. Free school meals. I kept scrolling. My stomach tightened. South Korea wasn't a distant foreign country. It was Korean. Same language, same roots. And yet the lives described on those screens felt like another planet. That night, I didn't show Hae-jin inside embassy housing. We went out. A cafe. Somewhere noisy, where surveillance would be harder. I turned the laptop toward her. Hae-jin, look? Her eyes filled immediately. By then, she was about 6 months pregnant. If our baby could grow up with this, she whispered, voice shaking. I already knew what I was about to say. Hae-jin, let's go to the south. She stared at me like I'd spoken a forbidden spell. That's risking our lives. I know, I said. But if we return, what happens to Sua? What happens to this baby? We talked for hours. Every scenario was terrifying. But the conclusion kept returning. If we stayed on the regime's path, our children would inherit the same cage. If we ran, we might die. But if we succeeded, our children would live. Finally, Hae-jin nodded barely. We're sorry to our parents, she whispered. But we have to save the kids. That night, we began planning. How to approach the British authorities. When to move. What documents to take. Sleep became impossible. Because we had crossed a line in our minds. Now we only had to cross it in real life. January 15th, 2024. A Monday. I will never forget that date. It was our day. Our D-Day. Neither of us slept. Hae-jin was 7 months pregnant. Her hands were ice cold from stress. Sua, 6 years old now, slept peacefully. She had no idea. Honey, are we doing the right thing? Hae-jin asked again. I was afraid too. But it was too late. This is for the kids, I said. If not now, then never. We acted like it was a normal workday. But inside my bag were the documents that could prove everything. North Korean passports, IDs, my embassy staff card, proof we were who we said we were. Sua, I said gently, today, Mom and Dad are taking you somewhere special. Where? She asked, rubbing her eyes. Just stay close. That's all. We took the subway toward the Home Office. Every stop felt like a countdown. I kept scanning faces. Was someone following us? Did the embassy notice? Was a security agent already moving in? Sua tugged at Hae-jin's coat. Mom, I'm hungry. Just a little longer, Hae-jin said, holding her hand tight. We walked into the building. My legs felt weak. At the desk, I forced the words out in English. I'm here to apply for asylum. I'm a North Korean diplomat. The clerk's eyes widened. They called someone higher up. We were taken into a private room. Then everything moved fast. Questions. More questions. Verification. Are you really a diplomat? Why are you doing this? Is your family with you? I handed over the documents. I explained. My wife is pregnant. My daughter is 6. I want them to live free. That's when Sua grabbed my pant leg. Dad, are we not going home? I'm scared. My chest collapsed. I lifted her into my arms. It's okay, I told her. I've got you. You're safe. By evening, the British authorities moved us to a secure location. A safe house. The address was secret. That night, lying in a bed that felt like a hotel, Hae-jin cried. Honey, did we really do the right thing? Yes, I said. We did. For them. But my heart wasn't calm. My parents in Pyongyang, my siblings. When the regime learned I had fled, punishment would follow. Mom, Dad, I'm sorry, I whispered into the dark. We gained freedom, but the cost was brutal, and there was no going back. The first days in the safe house felt unreal. We were free, but we were shaking. Every time I looked out a window, I wondered if embassy agents were nearby. The British protected us heavily. Police on duty around the clock. Food, supplies, everything provided. Hae-jin's medical care continued free, professional, calm. A doctor showed us the ultrasound again. The baby is doing well, he said. Everything looks good. Hae-jin gripped my hand and cried. Back home, pregnancy meant fear. Money, bribes, missing medicine. Here, it meant care. Still, at night, Pyongyang came back to me. My father was over 70. My mother was 65. What were they going through now because of me? One day, a British official warned us. The North Korean embassy is looking for you, but you're under protection. A cold weight settled in my spine. Back at the embassy, I knew exactly what they would call me. Traitor. Defector. Enemy. And back in Pyongyang, my family would be questioned. Sua didn't understand. Dad, when do we go home? My toys are there. How do you explain exile to a 6-year-old? We have a new home now, I said softly. A safer one. But I liked our old home. Her words cut deep. In February, our refugee process began. More interviews. More details. Why did we flee? I told them the truth. In North Korea, there is no hope. Rations fail. Power goes out. Clinics are empty. But the worst part is you can't speak. You can't choose. You can't breathe. They listened closely, and for the first time in my life, I felt heard. By March, Hee-jin's due date was approaching. The doctor expected a mid-May delivery. Then another option appeared. South Korea is willing to accept you, we were told. If you want, you can go there. South Korea. Same language. Same people split by history. I looked at Hee-jin. She looked back at me. We already knew. We want to go to South Korea, we said. The British official explained. Cases like yours are rare. A North Korean diplomat seeking asylum, it draws attention. That attention made me uncomfortable. I'm not special, I said. I'm just a father. In mid-April of 2024, we boarded a flight to Korea. Security accompanied us. Medical staff monitored Hee-jin, now 8 months pregnant. As the plane lifted off, Sua pressed her face to the window. Dad, where are we going? Korea, I told her. The Republic of Korea. What's it like? It's a place where you can do what you want. A place where you can dream. She didn't fully understand, but she smiled at the clouds. The flight was about 12 hours, and through all of it, one thought wouldn't leave me. My parents, what had happened to them? I remembered my father's words from long ago. You're our pride. Do you know what it means to be a diplomat? Now, to the regime, I was a disgrace. Dad, forgive me, I whispered. But I couldn't choose anything else. Hee-jin was thinking about her own parents, too. I just hope they're okay, she said, rubbing her belly. The baby moved. This child would be born in freedom. When we landed at Incheon Airport, the lights outside looked endless. Seoul glittered in a way Pyongyang never could. Korean officials greeted us. Welcome. You've had a long journey. You're safe now. Those words broke me. You're safe now. In North Korea, nobody says that. Even as a privileged diplomat, I lived under eyes and fear. But in that moment, I believed it. We got into a car and headed to Hanwon, a resettlement center for North Koreans. As we drove, I watched the city lights, and I knew we had made the right choice. May 21st, 2024. Our son was born in a hospital near Hanwon. The medical staff was modern, calm, prepared. Congratulations, the nurse said. A healthy baby boy. They placed him in Hee-jin's arms. A tiny face, red cheeks. A new life. My son, I whispered. Born in the Republic of Korea. Hee-jin cried as she held him close. This child would never need ration coupons. He would never sit through indoctrination. He would never be punished for curiosity. And something happened that still feels unreal. I expected a bill. Instead, a nurse said, the cost is covered by national health insurance. You don't need to pay. I stared. Not even a little? She shook her head. And there is also childbirth support. Hye-jin bowed over and over, almost out of habit. Thank you. Thank you. We had been in Korea only a month, and already the difference felt overwhelming. Hanwon training also surprised us. Banking, phones, subways, basic daily life. Then we went to a supermarket. Hee-jin froze in front of the fruit. Look at this, she whispered. So much fruit. Apples, pears, grapes piled high. In North Korea, fruit is a holiday luxury. Here, it was everyday life. I crouched beside Sua. Pick what you want. Her eyes widened. Dad, this too? And that too? All of it, I said. Whatever you want. She laughed, loud and free. In June, we graduated from Hanwon and began settlement support. A deposit for housing, support for resettlement, child allowances. Each deposit and payment felt like a message. Your children matter here. Sua entered elementary school in South Korea. She ate warm lunches at school. She ran with friends. And every morning, watching her walk out the door, I told myself, we did the right thing. But at night, Pyongyang still returned. My parents. My siblings. Were they safe? Were they punished? Had they been taken? Mom, Dad, I'm sorry, I whispered again and again. Yujin cried too. Freedom came with guilt, a wound that doesn't close. Still, when I looked at my children, I made a promise. They will live free. They will choose their own lives. And one day I hope the North will change, so that the people I left behind, my parents, my family, and millions of others, can live like human beings. My son babbles in my arms. He will grow up in a free country. And for that, I don't regret the choice I made.